Right now, in the United States, in the past 20 years, we've been short somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million babies being born to sustain the current workforce. Because the baby boomers that have been leaving the workforce are outnumbering the babies that were born 60 years later than them. And then on top of that, right now, this year, we're short probably 500,000 non-U.S. born workers entering the labor force. So if you put that together, it's my estimation that we're probably short 1 million people to sustain a healthy labor force growth rate, or even just to sustain the workforce. So you think about that from an employer standpoint, there's no solution to that on the horizon. Babies being born in the United States won't make a difference for 20 years. And immigration is not being fixed politically. It's getting worse, not better. If you think you're going to solve this by, we'll just hire college graduates or high school graduates and train them, they aren't there. There isn't enough of them. And so you've got to figure out a way to overcome that. And the only way you can overcome that is be better and more attractive, both in terms of retention and in terms of recruiting than your competitors. And this is a simple formula. Be clear about what difference you're making. Be clear about what culture you have, and be clear about what results you want. The place we start is people first. And we think about that simply as, number one, people aligned with your vision. Are people wanting to do what your business is doing? Are they excited about the difference you are making in the world? Number two, do they support with their behaviors the culture you're trying to create in your business? And number three, can they do the work that you have for them to do? And so those three things, are they aligned with our vision? Are they supporting our culture with their behaviors? And can they do the work that we want them to do? The other challenging thing is that we've done this to ourselves, is that we have created an environment where, frankly, loyalty is no longer expected, or certainly in the last 40 years, there's been an effort to make sure that you're right-sized. Make no mistake about it, everybody that got fired in those right sizings viewed that as a disloyalty thing, where you brought me in and promised me a job and now that promise is broken. And that shows up in the labor statistics in dramatic ways. Their average tenure in a job statistically is about 18 months. And so if you aren't ready to replace the people that you have in your staff, you're probably going to be sucking wind when that 26-year-old decides that extra $1 or $2 an hour that your competitor is offering sounds pretty good. And so they leave and go someplace else, and you got to start over. That's a challenging thing, especially for a small business that has few employees. In a business that has 10 employees, one person leaving, that's 10% of their workforce. The challenges are especially poignant for small employers because you have to compete with that large employer who has those robust recruiting and selection processes in place and probably offers higher wages and better benefits. You've got that recruiting challenge. But once you've hired that first employee, the challenge is engagement and retention. It's engagement in terms of how do you make sure that the person feels like, I would never think about considering working someplace else. And that's the magic about this, is if you're good at that, you're going to both attract and retain people who fit those three things. I'm aligned with the direction. I love the difference we're making. This culture is terrific. I love the people I work with, and the way we do this is in line with my own personal values. And I feel like I'm doing my best work when I come to work because I know what's expected of me, and I feel like I can put my best skills to work and add value to the business. I was talking to one of our clients, the CEO of a pretty significant business in our community, who I've worked with for a long time. A part of their engagement practice with employees is to make sure that we talk to them and see how things are going, both give and take. Ask them questions and expect them to ask us questions. They had hired a new employee, and so the CEO was checking in to see, so how are these new employees that we just hired? How are they doing 60 days into their employment? It's a seasoned person in their industry who had come to work for them. And so he was in his first 2 months. And one of the feedbacks that he gave his boss was this. He said, this is the first time in 16 years, that somebody told me I was doing a good job. And you think about the impact that can have on an individual. It's still, even saying it now again, I've told this story several times in just the last week since I've heard it. And every time I get tears in my eyes, because that's the thing that makes a difference in the workforce, where somebody now is going to say, I am not going anywhere else. I'm going to stay here working. I don't care if I get offered another $10,000 a year by some competitor. I'm staying here because this is meaningful and I'm appreciated. This isn't just about recruiting. It's about how you treat people when they get here and how you make sure they're doing the work that they're meant to do. Do you have a system in place to foster that and to encourage that and to give the sort of feedback, not just for new employees, but for employees that have been there for a long time? I think the key measure of this is talking to people in the organization and saying, do you like your job? Is it going well? How's your relationship with me, your boss? This should be the conversation the boss is having. Do you need something more from me? Are we aligned? Is the expectation agreed upon? Do you know what I expect? And I should know what you expect as well. And if you're only talking to people once a year, you're sadly behind the curve. You should have an eyeball-to-eyeball conversation with every one of your direct reports at least once a week, and that should be a metric of how well you're doing from a leadership standpoint. Did I talk to everybody that I'm accountable for this past week? The way you overcome a labor shortage is to have people that love to work there and talk about it to their friends and say, hey, if you want a job that you really enjoy, come work with me. You won't ever have a labor problem if that's your employee's perspective, is that they're talking to their friends and neighbors and saying, hey, you keep complaining about your job. Why don't you come and get a job working with me? Because I love it. What's the direction? What's this vision and mission we have? What's this difference we're making in the world? If I'm clear about that, number one, if I'm clear about the culture we're trying to create, what core values we have, and if I'm clear about what the results are that I want to get, three key things: clear about the vision, clear about the culture, and clear about the results I get, and communicate that effectively to my team. And that case cascades down throughout the organization in ways that are meaningful to each person. And you get people that are aligned with those three things, you're unstoppable. The organization is unstoppable. You're going to knock your competitors out of the marketplace. So putting systems in place where you're answering those three questions about alignment, support for the culture, and results that you get, we bring that into our system when this people first approach of putting systems in place where the structure supports that, the performance management system supports that, your planning supports that, and you start this flywheel spinning where you, as that company, can overcome this labor crunch that we're experiencing and will be for some time to come. You'll be ahead of the game because your retention rate will be better, because you have people aligned with what you're trying to do. Your employee engagement will be better, so your performance in the marketplace will outstrip your competitors because people come to work excited about what they're doing. And your bottom line results will be better because people are aligned and they aren't distracted by things that aren't productive. These challenges are real challenges. They are difficult challenges, but it doesn't require a complex system. And we are happy to talk to anybody who says, how do you do that? So if these struggles are struggles that resonate with you, give us a call.